I'm making a hat, necktie, and bag all out of my old jeans to make a custom outfit completely out of scrap denim. I've made so many things out of old jeans and I have all these scraps that I don't know what to do with. So today I'm gonna cut, sew, drill, and glue old jean pockets and belt loops together to make 3 brand new pieces. And if I don't mess it up, I should end up with something like this. So let's go make it. Let's start off by making the hat. My plan here is to take these old jean pockets and other denim scraps and glue them onto this blank black hat with fabric glue. I'm gonna try my best to avoid sewing here because I think it's gonna be a pain to have to feed this hat through a sewing machine. So I'm gonna try to use fabric glue instead. Plus we're gonna get plenty of time sewing later with the bag. Also, for my regular viewers, you guys will notice this place looks a little different. I moved into a new apartment, but enough talking, let's go make the first piece of our outfit. First, I started off by lint rolling the hat to get it ready to glue all the different denim scraps onto. Then I went through my piles of scrap denim to choose out the pieces that I was actually going to use for this project. I'm not going to lie, at the start I had no idea what I was doing. This is kind of one of those figure it out as you go projects, but I figured a good place to start would be covering up the bottom of the brim with a layer of denim, so I traced and cut this panel out. Then I took my fabric glue and glued all across the bottom of the brim and then pressed that panel on. And then from here I spent the next half an hour figuring out how I could cover up the rest of the brim with denim scraps. This was just a lot of cutting out the material and seeing what I could do with different pieces of denim, but I have so many scraps from other projects and this is a good way to use them up. I'm super happy with how it's looking so far, and I've got more than half of my hat covered up with different pieces of denim. So now I decided it was a good time to distress some of it, and I pulled out my Dremel. A Dremel is a rotary based power tool that I use for distressing my jeans all the time. It's perfect for fraying the edges of fabric like this, or roughening up different spots of the denim to give it more texture. Maybe it wasn't a good idea to use a Dremel in my room because the little cotton fluff gets everywhere and it made my room a mess, but I'll talk more about that later. First, this is how the hat's looking so far and I think it's so cool. All that's left to do is cover up the crown of the hat, so I started by taking this Levi's pocket and cutting it into shape. And once I was done with that, I took this pizza box so I wouldn't destroy my desk with a Dremel. I took this piece of fabric and I started cutting out a circle with the Dremel. The frayed edges that you get from the Dremel look so cool and way better than if I had just cut it with scissors. Although I did have to cut it with scissors to get it to detach fully, but those are minor details. Then I had to lint roll it to get all of that cotton fluff off. I told you it gets everywhere. Once I'd done that, I could put some fabric glue on it and toss it up onto the hat. Just ran it through the Dremel one more time to fray up some of the edges that I had cut with scissors and add some more texture. And that's the hat. Alright, I'm done the hat and my room is a mess. It's worth it though because the hat looks really cool. Here's a sneak peek of how the hat looks. It's gonna look so good with the outfit, and I still got a ton of denim scraps, so let's go use some of those to make a necktie. I also have no idea how to tie a necktie, but that's a problem for later in this video. First, let's go and make it. I figured it'd be easier to glue patches onto an existing tie rather than make one from scratch, so I chose out my pieces again and then I got to work gluing them on. First I started with the zipper area on the front of the tie, and yes, the zipper still works. I think that's pretty cool. I started playing around with how some other cool pieces could fit onto this tie, and once I had some ideas, I then went ahead with covering up the whole thing in denim. I spent about an hour playing around with different denim pieces, and this is how it looks so far. Still gotta cover up the rest, so let's go do that. Alright, I'm done the necktie. Here's a sneak peek of how it looks. It is so much thicker than a regular tie, so I think I'm gonna have a really hard time actually tying it. And on top of that, I don't even know how to tie a tie. But those are both problems for later when I throw together the full outfit. For now, we gotta make a bag. I don't really have a plan for this. My idea is that I'm gonna trace out the pattern onto this other fabric, Then I'm going to do the same process of gluing all those things on. And then once I have these pattern pieces done with the denim scraps glued onto them, then I can sew them together and that will make the bag. So I'm just going to freestyle it and see what happens. Hopefully it turns out cool, but honestly the other two pieces that I've made so far are awesome. So I've got no reason to believe that this bag isn't going to turn out the same way. And once I'm done with it, I'm going to be able to show you guys the final outfit. So let's go make a bag. So like I said, I'm going to start by tracing out my pattern onto this blank fabric. This fabric is called muslin. It's a really low grade cotton that's used all across the fashion industry to make samples because it's cheap and easy to work with. I placed my pattern on 2 folds so that it's perfectly symmetrical and I get 2 pieces with 1 cut. After that, I went ahead and started measuring out the long edge of this pattern piece so I could figure out how long I needed the other pattern piece to be. Once I had those measurements, I went ahead and teared it out of the muslin because it just gives me way straighter lines than if I cut it. And now there's one piece left to make, which is the strap. I want the strap to be skinnier than the width of the bag, so I drew this taper shape on, and then I folded that over on itself so it's symmetrical, started to cut that out, teared it where I wanted it to be straight, and now it's time to choose out my denim scraps. I decided that I wanted the top of the bag to be waistband pieces, so I took my Dremel and cut up a few of those with that. Then I started laying them out on the pattern that I had made out of muslin, just laying them down and not gluing anything together yet. And when I did start to glue things together, I ran into some issues. I was running out of glue, and it was hard to get anything out of the bottle. I had just enough glue to finish putting this one panel together, and after I finished making this panel, I had to run to the store to grab another bottle. Of course, once I was done making this panel, I had to run it through the Dremel. Now it's time to make some more. I thought my room was messy yesterday, but you should see it now. There are denim scraps and fluff and debris everywhere. But the good news is I'm almost done. I've got all the panels glued together. Now I just need to sew all of those panels together to make the full bag. And in order to do that, I gotta leave my mess of a room to go to the sewing lab at my university. So let's go do that and finish up this project. So as some of you guys might know, I study fashion design at university. So I have access to all the sewing labs and everything there. So that's where I'm off to right now. But it's pretty late at night, so not that many people should be there. And yeah, I can finish this project up. The first thing I did when I got to the lab was quickly press my tie to make it extra crisp. Then I started setting up my sewing machine. Setting up an industrial sewing machine is like performing open heart surgery. It is so complicated, but I'm a semi-pro, so I breathed through it, no problem. Then I started pinning together my different panels and started sewing. There's so many layers of denim, so it made it really challenging to sew around because there's like 5 layers of denim. And because the denim is so thick, I broke a couple sewing needles. This was just the first of many. But anyways, I pinned another panel on, and now you can really see it start to take the shape of a bag. And once I was done pinning that, I was able to sew that one together, only breaking 1 needle. And now all that was left to do is sew the strap on. I was so scared to break another needle because I only had 1 left, so I decided to hand spin the whole thing. Then I lined up the last part, broke a needle, but it was alright because I was done sewing. After 9 hours of working on this project, I'm finally done, all 3 pieces. And honestly, the bag might be the coolest one. I'm so happy with how it turned out. But anyways, let's go make an outfit. Alright guys, I'm done making the bag, and that means that I'm done making all of the pieces for this outfit. Really quick, I'd like to point out how all of the pockets on this thing still work. But yeah, for this outfit, I got the hat that I made earlier, the tie that I made, the bag that I just made, this white button-up shirt that I thrifted, and these Y2K jeans that I've made in a previous YouTube video. If you guys remember though, I still have one more challenge. I don't know how to tie a tie. So let's go figure that out, and I'll show you guys the final reveal.
Cross the wide end over the hole in the center of the step 1 is the tie and make it go behind